Picture this moment. It's the middle of the afternoon and you're relaxing in your favorite chair when, out of nowhere, you feel a vague discomfort in your chest. It's not the sharp shooting pain you might expect from something serious, just a mild heaviness that could pass for indigestion. So you dismiss it. Perhaps you reach for an antacid or a glass of water. But what if that faint discomfort is more than just indigestion? What if it's the very first hint of a silent heart attack, quietly unraveling your health without the dramatic symptoms you've heard about your whole life? It happened to George, a lively 67-year-old who spent his days tinkering with vintage radios. One Sunday afternoon, as he was bent over his workbench, he felt a weird tightness in his chest. It wasn't painful enough to alarm him, so he chalked it up to getting older. 2 days later, the indigestion flared into something more ominous, and he ended up in the emergency room with a serious heart attack he never saw coming. George's doctor later confided that if he'd recognized the early signs, he might have prevented substantial damage to his heart and possibly avoided the entire ordeal. Stories like George's are far too common among adults 65 and over. Many of us have grown up believing that a heart attack always looks like that dramatic movie scene, clutching your chest, gasping for air. But as it turns out, the reality can be alarmingly subtle. Silent heart attacks don't come with flashing warning lights, yet their impact can be every bit as devastating. And here's the real danger. What you don't notice can harm you the most. The older we get, the more likely these understated signals can slip by unnoticed. If left unaddressed, the consequences go far beyond a brief hospital stay. A silent heart attack can weaken your heart muscle over time, diminishing your energy, mobility, and independence. It can mean giving up the activities you treasure, like playing with grandchildren or tending to a beloved garden, and trading them for endless doctor visits, medical bills, and worry. No one wants to miss out on life's simple joys, and yet that's exactly what's at stake if these signals remain hidden in plain sight. Today, we're going to explore 5 silent heart attack signs you absolutely can't afford to ignore. By the end, you'll know exactly what to look for and, most importantly, what to do if any of these symptoms pop up. I've spent years collecting insights from cardiologists, geriatric specialists, and remarkable seniors who've navigated these challenges firsthand. What I'm about to share could make all the difference in protecting your health and the life you still have ahead of you. Before we jump in, take a quick moment to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you won't miss any of our future health insights. And if at any point you find this video helpful, type the number 1 in the comments. If it leaves you with questions or concerns, type 0 and let me know how I can serve you better. Let's get into these crucial signs, because ignoring them could cost you far more than you might imagine. The first silent sign to watch for involves jaw, neck, or shoulder discomfort. Most people think heart attack pain is strictly about the chest. We've all seen the scenes in TV shows or movies, the hand clutching the chest in obvious agony. But it's not always that clear-cut, especially for seniors. Many older adults who eventually learned they were having a heart attack recalled a dull ache in the jaw or neck, something so mild they assumed it must be muscle strain or a dental problem. That assumption can be dangerous. People often believe, if my heart is in trouble, it'll hurt right where it is in my chest. But the human body sometimes sends pain signals to unexpected places. Take Barbara, for example, a 75-year-old retired librarian. Barbara started feeling a strange tightness just beneath her jawline after an afternoon of gardening. She assumed she'd been gritting her teeth while pulling up weeds. When the ache lingered for days, she visited her dentist, who found nothing wrong. By the time she connected that discomfort to her heart, when additional symptoms like mild fatigue and shortness of breath appeared, she was in the early stages of a heart attack. The surprising truth is that your heart shares nerve pathways with various regions of your upper body. When your heart is under stress, you might feel the tension somewhere else entirely. A dull, persistent pain in the jaw, neck, or shoulder region, especially if it doesn't get better with simple remedies like a warm compress, could signal that something deeper is happening. So what should you do if you notice this sort of discomfort? First, never dismiss it outright. Pay close attention. Does the ache come and go? Does it worsen when you're exerting yourself, even just a little? Is it accompanied by other subtle changes, like slight chest pressure or feeling more tired than usual? If the answers lead you to suspect it's something more serious, make an appointment to check in with a medical professional sooner rather than later. It's always better to investigate and find out it's nothing than to ignore a warning sign that leads to an emergency. Imagine the relief that comes from discovering a potential heart issue early, before it morphs into a life-threatening event. That's the power of tuning in to these subtle signals. By acting quickly on unusual aches in your jaw, neck, or shoulders, you give yourself a fighting chance to stay active and in control, able to do what matters most to you each day. Moving on to the second sign, overwhelming or unexplained fatigue. You might be thinking, but of course I'm tired. I'm in my 70s or beyond. And sure, it's normal to experience a dip in energy as the years go by. However, there's a significant difference between ordinary weariness and the kind of fatigue that might hint at heart trouble. Most seniors I've met believe that feeling drained is simply a natural part of aging, but that mindset can hide dangerous problems in plain sight. Consider Ricardo, 68, who was known in his neighborhood for his morning walks. One day he found himself stopping to rest after just a few blocks. Instead of questioning why his stamina had suddenly vanished, he shrugged and attributed it to getting old. Weeks later, he was skipping his daily walks altogether and spending more time in bed. What he didn't know was that his heart was struggling to pump effectively. That subtle heart issue was slowly draining his energy, leaving him feeling more and more worn out as the days passed. The counterintuitive truth here is that fatigue can be one of the earliest clues your heart isn't receiving the oxygen-rich blood it needs. Think of your heart as the body's main engine. When that engine misfires, everything slows down. Your ability to move freely, your mental clarity, and ultimately your sense of joy in daily life. Persistent exhaustion that doesn't improve with rest can indicate that your heart is laboring under increased stress. What can you do about it? Start by being a detective in your own life. Keep track of your energy levels. Note when you feel most fatigued, what activities cause you to tire quickly, and how you recover. If you're suddenly too tired to walk to the mailbox or fix yourself a simple lunch, that's a red flag worth investigating. Speak to your healthcare provider and don't be afraid to request a heart check. Simple tests like an EKG or stress test can reveal issues before they become dire. When you take proactive steps to explore unexplained fatigue, you not only safeguard your heart health, you also stand to protect your independence and ability to engage in everyday pleasures. It's about preventing a slow decline that robs you of time with loved ones and steals the simple joy of waking up each morning eager for the day ahead. By the way, if you're still here, engaged, and finding these insights valuable, type the number 2 in the comments. It's wonderful to have your participation. And if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do that now so you won't miss any updates that can help you stay informed and protected. Let's address the third sign, shortness of breath or mild breathing difficulty. Many people believe you only become severely out of breath when something is really wrong, like pneumonia or severe COPD. But that's not always the case. For seniors, a subtle inability to catch your breath could be your body's way of whispering that your heart is in distress. Shortness of breath can feel different for everyone. For some, it might be the feeling of your chest tightening slightly when you climb a small set of stairs, something that never gave you trouble before. For others, it might manifest as needing to sit down and catch your breath after just a few minutes of light housework. The misconception is that this sign has to be dramatic to be serious. That's how it slipped by Arnold, a 73-year-old retiree who prided himself on keeping an immaculate lawn. Over the course of a month, mowing the grass went from a pleasant chore to an exhausting ordeal. He'd find himself gasping quietly but forced, resting after each pass of the mower. He brushed it off as a bad allergy season. Weeks later, a mild heart attack landed him in urgent care. What's really happening inside the body? When the heart isn't pumping efficiently, your lungs don't get the full supply of oxygen they need. As a result, you find yourself feeling winded from activities that never used to faze you. Perhaps you blame the summer humidity or figure you're just out of shape. But if you notice even a moderate shift in your breathing capacity, especially if it's getting progressively worse, it's time to pay closer attention. A valuable action step is a simple self-check. Next time you do a routine task, maybe walking around the block or carrying a small laundry basket, pause and notice how you feel. Can you speak in full sentences without gasping for air? Do you need to stop and rest more often than you used to? If you spot a consistent pattern, schedule a checkup. A few proactive tests can make all the difference, and you'll feel peace of mind knowing you caught a possible warning sign early. On an emotional level, few things are scarier than feeling like you can't catch your breath. By taking proactive steps, recognizing the pattern and consulting a healthcare professional, you not only give your heart the help it might need, but also maintain the sense of freedom that comes from being able to move through your day without fear of sudden exhaustion. Now onto the fourth silent sign, cold sweats or sudden dizziness. You might think breaking into a sweat for no apparent reason only happens when you're anxious or dealing with menopause. But the truth is, cold sweating and dizziness that seems to come from out of nowhere can be your heart's way of saying, "Help!" A lot of seniors assume, "Oh, I just stood up too fast," when they feel dizzy, or they think, "I must be coming down with something," when a wave of sudden sweating hits. That's exactly what happened to Esther, age 79, one afternoon as she sat in her living room. It wasn't hot outside, she wasn't physically active at that moment, yet her skin became clammy and moist, almost like she'd been doing intense exercise. She also felt her head spinning. Her first thought was the flu, so she drank some water and waited for it to pass. However, those cold sweats kept returning over the next few days, especially when she tried to do small tasks like cooking or putting away groceries. Eventually, she discovered she'd been experiencing low-grade heart stress that culminated in a minor heart attack. Here's the surprising truth. When your heart struggles to maintain proper circulation, your body may react with dizziness due to fluctuating blood pressure or cold sweating as part of an emergency response. It's your system's fight or flight alarm going off. An easy way to check for deeper issues is to track when these symptoms strike. Notice if they happen during mild exertion or even while you're at rest. If it feels odd or comes paired with other subtle signals, such as slight pressure in the chest, fatigue, or a faint ache in the jaw, don't shrug it off. The practical advice is straightforward. Don't self-diagnose. Check your pulse or blood pressure if you can, and if you're consistently getting unexplainable readings or feeling those sudden episodes, alert your healthcare provider. There might be a simple explanation, but there could also be a serious heart issue lurking beneath the surface. Taking action now can save you from a far worse crisis later. Most importantly, you'll preserve your peace of mind. Nothing robs you of your sense of security quite like dizziness that makes you fear falling or sweats that hit with no warning. By recognizing that these could be silent calls for help, you keep control in your hands and ensure you're not caught off guard by a critical event. If you're still watching and this content resonates with you, please type the number 4 below in the comments. I'd love to see who's journeying with me through these crucial insights. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. It's the easiest way to make sure you'll never miss an update that could protect your health. Lastly, let's explore the 5th silent heart attack sign, subtle nausea or stomach pain. We often connect nausea or abdominal discomfort with something we ate, or blame it on acid reflux or a sensitive stomach. That's why many seniors overlook it, thinking, it's probably just my digestive system acting up. But here's the curveball. In some cases, that low-key stomach disturbance might be your heart that's in trouble, not your belly. Geraldine, 72, had always prided herself on her cast-iron stomach. She loved to try new recipes and never had issues digesting spicy foods. Then out of the blue, she started feeling mild nausea every morning, just enough to dampen her appetite. At first, she reasoned it was a stomach bug that would pass. But when the dull ache under her ribs was accompanied by a wave of fatigue and shortness of breath, her son insisted she go for a checkup. That's when tests revealed she'd been on the verge of a more serious cardiac event. It seems counterintuitive that heart trouble could show up as an upset stomach, but the nerves around the heart and digestive tract can cause overlapping sensations. If your heart function is compromised, blood flow to the rest of the body, including the digestive system, can be affected. This might trigger nausea or an unsettled feeling that mimics indigestion. What should you do if you notice recurring nausea or unexplained stomach pain? First, observe when it happens. Is it triggered by certain foods or times of day? Do you also feel weaker than usual? Or does the discomfort intensify when you exert yourself? If yes, it's vital to mention these symptoms to a healthcare provider and share all relevant details. Early intervention could prevent a heart attack that otherwise might catch you off guard. On an emotional level, there's a real peace of mind that comes from connecting the dots. Instead of letting vague stomach issues worry you for months on end, you take charge by looking deeper. And if your heart is indeed the culprit, knowing that as soon as possible can literally be a lifesaver. You remain in control of your future, free to enjoy new recipes or family dinners without the silent dread of what if. Each of these 5 silent signs, a strange ache in the jaw or shoulders, unexplained fatigue, mild shortness of breath, sudden cold sweats or dizziness, and subtle nausea, can quietly point to heart stress. The good news is that awareness truly is power. By recognizing these lesser-known symptoms, you empower yourself to take swift, potentially life-saving steps. Take a moment to picture how different life could be if you listen to your body and catch these signals early. You could preserve not only your heart health, but your ability to do the things that light up your days, like spending time with grandkids, traveling, or simply relaxing in your garden without any nagging fear lurking in the back of your mind. You don't have to feel like a ticking time bomb, always wondering if you're missing a critical alarm. It's time to gather these insights and turn them into action. Think about George, who had a minor chest heaviness that he mistook for indigestion, or Barbara's jaw pain that took her by surprise, or Esther's unexplained cold sweats. They all discovered that what seems minor at first can be a pivotal clue, one that leads you to the right medical advice and interventions before it's too late. The stakes are high. You could face costly medications, extended hospital stays, and reduced quality of life if a silent heart attack goes unchecked. But if you act now, you can maintain the freedom and vitality to enjoy life on your own terms. Don't settle for, "I'm just getting older," when your body might be waving a red flag that it needs some extra care. Which of the 5 signs caught your attention the most? Was it the idea that jaw or shoulder pain could actually be heart-related? Or was it the notion that unexplained fatigue isn't something you should just accept as part of aging? Take a moment to reflect. How do these points apply to your daily life right now? Maybe you've already noticed a few changes, but never connected them to your heart health. This is your opportunity to pivot early enough to make a real difference. I invite you to share one thing you learned today in the comments below. It might be an insight, a question, or even a commitment to make an appointment with your doctor. That simple act of writing it down can cement your resolve and inspire others who might be experiencing the same symptoms. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone you love, especially if they're 65 or older, and might benefit from these vital clues. Your voice matters here, and your health matters even more. As you move forward, remember, these 5 silent signs are not a reason to live in fear, but rather an invitation to stay proactive and informed. You have the power to catch subtle changes before they become catastrophic, to protect the joys of your life, and to remain a vibrant part of your family and community. Thank you for watching, for caring about your well-being, and for taking these steps to look after your heart. May you continue to live fully with the confidence that you're doing all you can to safeguard your future. I'm rooting for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.